Hello, welcome to Bonneville's Energy Efficiency Tracking System training. In this video regarding getting started with BEETS, my colleague and I will cover basic functions of the system and guidance on initial setup. So let's get started. The BEETS system is set up on the Vision DSM platform. So this is where you'll be signing in to get into BEETS. Let's start with the initial sign-in. Your username will be provided during account setup and is typically not your email. Contact BPA if you've forgotten your username or can't locate it. The next step would be to set up a password. The first time you log in, you will need to click Forgot Password and you'll receive an email to set it up. So let's go ahead and sign in. Once you are logged into BEETS, you will see the dashboard. On initial setup, this will be blank and it will say no dashboard selected. We'll show you in a few minutes how to set the dashboard up. For orientation, we want to start by looking through these icons here. The first icon is your profile icon. On this icon, you can log out and you can adjust your profile. So if you click on Profile, you can change your email and password. Go ahead and ignore the optional fields. They aren't needed. You can also change your password here. Be sure that once you've made any of these changes, you click Save Profile Changes to save them. So the other icon in this area is the settings icon. This cogwheel is found quite often in the BEETS system and allows you to change the setup and look of different screens. For this general cogwheel, you can change things like the font size. You can go from a small font size to a slightly larger one. This is something you can also change in your internet browser to zoom in more, but BEETS allows you to change it up and down at least a portion. You can change the theme from dark to light if you'd prefer a slightly darker theme. There's a variety of color themes. The default is a blue, a light blue. There's a variation of different styles, everything from purple and pink to my favorite, nature. Also, you can ask for confirmation when closing all open tabs. So as you use BEETS, you'll begin to have tabs along the bottom, and sometimes they'll get closed by things you do, and this would ask for confirmation before closing them. And then finally, adjusting the time for your time zone. We do suggest that you go ahead and set this up. Otherwise, the majority of materials would be in Eastern time. So yes, you want to go ahead and do that. It'll show that that's been updated and your setup is done. At this point, my colleague Jen will walk you through the use of the global navigation search, the icon that's right here.
I will now show you how to use the global search navigation capabilities of BEETS to find your applications. After logging into BEETS, you will be taken to your BEETS dashboard. In the upper right-hand corner, you will see a search icon. By clicking on that search icon, you will be brought to a search window. This will allow you to search across all applications within the BEETS system. There are some limiting criteria that you can select up here in the Where to Search section. Quite a few of these are less helpful to our BEETS customers and are more relevant to the out-of-the-box capabilities of the system, but there are a few that we want to call out that may be helpful to our customers. For example, when you load an application into BEETS, you may get an email notification that will tell you that revisions are needed. In this email, you will see that it has the project name, the project number, and what the error is. You will need to go into the system to correct. This project number, otherwise known as application number, is unique to every application and is the most direct way to access your application within the system. So if you want to get to that application, you will want to copy and paste this project number into the keyword field. Now before I press search, the search icon here, to get there to the exact search results, I may want to select application and project number. Then by repasting the project number into the field, I can be assured that I will only receive search results that have this within the project number field of application. This will allow me to be taken directly to that application. So I click on the blue search icon. And as you can see, there was only one result, so it took me directly to the application for me to make my corrections. To return to this keyword search view, click on the search icon, and you'll be taken back. Now, it defaults to searching for everywhere, which is what we recommend in most situations. But it also will note that you can see your recent searches on bottom to return to those if needed. Another important thing to note is, as you will see, the application we just searched has now been placed on the breadcrumbs at the bottom of the screen, allowing me to access this at another time. Now, suppose we don't know the application number and want to search for all applications that may contain the address Clouser Road. You type this in the keyword search field and click the blue search icon to see your results. As you can see in this screen, there are way more results than we previously saw. On the left, you'll see where these results are found. So here, in the application form, in one of the fields, there's an address of 11 Clouser Road. You will also see in the contact form, there are contact addresses, including Clouser Road. One thing to note, you will see that these are two different search results because they have two different project numbers. This includes ones below. There are additional applications with that address included. You may want to start searching around and opening these so you're able to see if they're the result you had hoped it to be. There is some additional identification number or identification information in here that may hone in on your results, including the utility, the program, application status, contact name, and then the app ref ID is also located here, but this is not as relevant to the customers. To open the results, you can hover over each of these search results and an icon will appear. You can also scroll down using the right sidebar or see all results to get a larger search results view. I'm going to select the first one here and open it by again hovering over the results and clicking on the icon that appears. as you can see, it once again went to the bottom of my screen here. I also can return to the results by clicking on this other breadcrumb. Now suppose the first one, I wasn't sure if this was the application I needed, so I'm going to take a look at another. And once again, hover over and click on the upper right-hand corner icon. This again returned it to the bottom of my search screen, allowing me to go quickly between multiple applications and the search screen. If I want to go back to the search screen and do another search, I want to remove the search criteria up here by clicking on the X. This once again will return me to the keyword search view where everywhere is defaulted. Another important limiting search criteria that may be helpful to some of the BEETS users is the utility dropdown. Here, you will be able to limit your search criteria to a specific utility. It's important to note that you will only have access to those utilities that you can see applications in. So if you're a utility customer, you may only see one, and the search is less helpful. In this circumstance, I'm going to pick our test utility Expedition. I also know I want to search within Custom Projects Option 1 program to further limit my results. Now, when I type in Clouser Road, I will only receive search results within Expedition Utility Custom Projects Option 1, further limiting my results and helping me find the application I'm looking for. Once again, I can remove the criteria by coming up here and clicking the X. That is how you search for applications using the Global Search Navigation screen in BEETS.
In the BEETS system, there are three main sections at the top: the dashboard, application processing, and utility and program management. We're now going to talk about setting up the dashboard. As with the overall setup where there's a cogwheel for settings, you've got a configure dashboard cogwheel for setting up your dashboards. When you click on them, we'll go ahead and add a dashboard. Initially, you can give it a name. Since this will be the main dashboard, I'm going to call it that. Then you'll want to add widgets, which are various pieces of information in the system that you might need to see, or things you might use to, for example, upload your UES template file. So I'm going to add a widget called Power BI Report. This is the main informational widget for the dashboard. And again, you could give it another title as the one above, and you'll select the BPA dashboard report and entity type as utility, and then click Save. Now this puts your dashboard on the screen, but it looks like it's a little bit small, so we're going to increase the size till we get it to a size that's better to view. And we may also want to make sure our font size is as big as possible and even increase it just a little bit more. So now your main dashboard has your Power BI report, which will be something we go over later. You can add another dashboard, such as the bulk uploader. You can name it bulk uploader choose the application bulk uploader, call it the awesome uploader, and say save. Now, as you can see, this became the first widget, the first dashboard on the screen. And what you'll want to do, if you'd like to configure those in a particular order, is move them up or down with this bar here. So now you have the main dashboard as the first one you'll come to. Now the bulk uploader is one, and then I will also add a dashboard for active programs. These are the programs that you might use the most. And I would select the widget, bookmarked programs, most used programs, and say save. Now you have another widget with the active programs. Again, if you want these in a particular order, you can move them around to get them set up to have the main dashboard first. You'll also note that you can edit, delete, or pin the dashboard. If you select pin, it will make that the default. So that will always be the one that you come to when you come into the system. If you decide to edit, you can go in and click on the pencil. You could then add a second widget to this dashboard if you'd like, or you could change the title of the dashboard. You could change the things, as you could see, that changed there. You could move them around from here. And if you don't like a dashboard that you've got on there, say, I don't need the active programs, I'm going to go ahead and delete the dashboard. You can always put it back on, but this action would delete it from the list. Also, I would note that you can, as we've seen with this main dashboard, you can resize the dashboards to be bigger as needed. This one doesn't need as much resizing. But say, for example, this one, you wanted to make smaller or larger depending on your need. Make it just a little bit bigger here to show the information better. Now, as I noted, you can put multiple dashboards here, or you can add additional widgets to a single dashboard if you'd like. All that can be done with the configure dashboards. One other note is you can hide dashboards. So say you didn't need that bulk uploader anymore and you just wanted it hidden. You can hide it, it goes away. As you'll see, when I click it, it shows up again. So that's the way that you configure dashboards.
I will now take you through the Application Processing tab within BEETS. After logging into BEETS, you'll be taken to the BEETS dashboard. Click on the Application Processing tab to have access to key application processing functions within the system. These tabs up top give you an idea of what can be done within each. Similarly to other parts of the system, some of them are not relevant to BEETS customers, and I will tell you when they are not. Work Center is an important area to build and save filters of commonly used search criteria to pull up at a later time. We will come back to this soon. You can ignore assigned applications. This is not functional for BPA customers. Bookmarks, however, is an important way to save applications you would like to easily visit at another time. To bookmark applications, from the application page, you will see a bookmark application icon in the upper right-hand corner. Click or unclick to add or remove bookmarks. When an application is bookmarked, you will see it in this list. Similar to other areas of BEETS, this window is customizable. You can click in this upper right-hand corner cog to configure the column. You can hide or show by clicking the left blue circles, or on the right, you can drag and drop the different column headers to reorder them and get a better view for your personal preferences. You can also search within each of these, similar to other areas of BEETS. Now, if you want to do a partial search, don't forget to put an asterisk before or after, as these search headers will only work for exact fields unless you do this. Click Enter and close out of this, and you will see that it returns only search results that contain that search term. Highlight and delete to remove this filter, and press Enter to see all of your results once again. You can also sort these columns alphabetically by clicking on Sort Descending, Sort Ascending. Recent applications is also helpful. These are applications you have recently interacted with, and you can sort ascending or descending to see the most recent and come back to them easily. To open each of these applications, don't forget, click on the project number or project name to return to that unique result. New applications is where you submit some specific applications that cannot be submitted through the bulk upload tool. For example, Custom Projects Option 1 new applications are created here, as well as Energy Project Manager, Strategic Energy Management, and some others. We will come back to this at a later time to tell you how to create new applications. I will now show you how to find applications within BEETS using Work Center filters. From the Application Processing tab, go to the Work Center area. Here is where you can build out filters on commonly used search criteria and come back to it easily at a later time. As you can see, I have lots of search filters built already. When you first come into the system, this area will be blank. Also important to note, this Applications and Tasks section is not functional within BEETS, and we do not anticipate that users will be employing either of these, so feel free to ignore. Coming back to the Work Center, to add a new filter, click Add New Filter up top. You will select the utility you would like to filter on. Once again, you will only see utilities you have access to. Today, we'll use Expedition as an example. You can find the utility easily by searching within this search box. Click to select. Now, within each of these, you must select a utility and program result. I will search for Expedition UES. This also allows you to add, to select specific project statuses. It is important to note that some of these statuses are not in use and may not be helpful to customers. We recommend, until you get more familiar with the different workflow statuses, that you select all. These can be refined at a later time. If you would like to add an additional utility and/or program, you can click on Add Program to Filter and select a second utility. Similarly, you must select a program. And again, select the project status. We recommend that you select all until you become familiar with these statuses. As you can see, this filter will now include all Bonneville Expedition UES Measure applications and will include Benton REA UES Measure applications. At this time, I'm going to decide to not include the Benton REA applications in my results, so I will remove by clicking an X. I will now create a unique filter for all Bonneville Expedition UES Measure applications. Click Create Filter. You will have the ability to name this whatever you want, but be sure to name it something unique so you know what you can come back to at a later time. Click Save. You will get a confirmation note down here, and you will also see all of the search criteria within this window. Now, if you want to edit this at a later time, you can click on the pencil icon. This will open an edit screen and will allow you to either edit this existing filter or create a new filter from this similar result. Click Save to keep your existing filter. There's also the ability to share filters, but this functionality is limited at this moment in time. This is also where you will delete a filter if you no longer need it. Lastly, by clicking on this one, this will be the start page for the Work Center and your primary Work Center filter. Now we'll want to close this window to get more space. You do this by clicking in the upper right-hand corner to hide the filter details. Now that we've defined this filter, we're going to go, it's sorted alphabetically, and we're going to go to the Expedition UES filter, make sure it's highlighted, and click Show Results. As you can see, the results are shown here of all applications meeting that criteria. You will see there are also 45 results listed. You can go to different pages by using these numbers on the right. Now there's still quite a few records here, and we may want to further refine the criteria. But before we do that, I want to point out again this Configure Columns capability. This is especially important in Work Center to make sure that you select columns that help you identify unique applications within larger search results. To configure the columns, click on the cog, and once again, you can show and hide the column by clicking on the blue circle. You can reorder by dragging and dropping, or you can add additional ones if you don't have the information you need. Everyone's Work Center should be set up to their own personal preferences. To close this, click on this cog once again. These columns can be dragged to make larger or smaller. Double-clicking on the column will expand it. Obviously, in this situation, we'll want a little bit more space, so we'll move it back. Within this, you can also sort by date. This can be helpful if you're looking for applications that were recently created. You can also search within each of these headers, either by pasting or typing in an exact search result, or if you want to search a partial search result within that, be sure to include an asterisk at the beginning and end. In this scenario, I'm just using some of my test cases that I built, and I want to search only on cancellation within the project name. By clicking Enter, it will limit the search results to those. And once again, I may want to drag this open so I can more fully see the project name. To remove this criteria, highlight, delete, and once again press Enter, and you will see the full search results once again. There are some columns in here that we find particularly helpful. Some of them may be specific to UES, BPA's most popular program. Tags can be particularly helpful for those using UES applications because a tag will be written noting any errors that happened within the application that need to be corrected by the customer before it moves forward to compliance review. Many people will want to build a revisions required Work Center filter to have an eye on anything that needs their action. Within these revisions required, once again, for UES applications, you will see a tag that is noted. While other programs may not have this tag, the status is consistent across all programs. And anything in revisions required will need action taken. A last important part of the Work Center filters is the fact that you can export results to save them for another time or to run reporting off of. So for example, I'm going to remove this revisions required and just show all results once again. Delete and Enter, and I will see full search results. Suppose I want to pull a report or an Excel export of all applications I submitted on August 24th. You can do that by filtering in these headers. Now you can see there are only applications limited to August 24th when they were created. These filters will save in that export and allow you to limit it to just the results in your Work Center screen. By clicking on Export CSV, a file will be created in your downloads of all these search results. You can format and move around as you deem necessary, but now you have an export of all applications that were created on August 24th. Going back to BEETS and closing our download screen. Once again, remove the criteria by deleting and pressing Enter. You can once again build additional filters and return to them at a later time. For example, this one is Expedition C1. And next time you log onto BEETS, you can easily access these filters and applications. That is how you use Work Center in BEETS.
One of the other tabs along the top that you'll probably use quite often is the Utility and Program Management tab. Now, when you click on this tab, you won't see all of these utilities. As I'm in a testing environment and a BPA employee, I see a number of utilities here. You will see the utilities that are associated with you. In addition, you'll see across here a few different tabs. We'll talk about bookmarking utilities in a little bit, as well as programs. Most of you will only have one utility. Some of you, if you work with multiple utilities, may see this function of bookmarking as beneficial. But for the most part, once you're in here, you're going to click on your utility. So I'm going to use Central Lincoln today. And based on your permissions, you may see different widgets along the top here. But like I indicated before, you can use this cogwheel to configure your widgets as you did on the previous page on the dashboard. So to do so, you can click here, and as you can see, you can choose to have it laid out on the top right or to the left. I prefer the top right. You can then decide to hide widgets. For example, this snapshot is still under development. We're not certain if it is something we will use for BPA, so you could hide it. You could also move it, similarly to how we did with the dashboard. You cannot delete it, but at a minimum, you could put it at the bottom or you could hide it. I would also note this config widget doesn't have anything in it, so we went ahead and we can hide that. You can click on it, it doesn't have anything, it's not applicable to our program, so we're going to hide that. And then you'll have programs, financials, and payment approvals. Again, there may be some of these that you don't have depending on your permissions. So for example, financials you can hide, or payment approvals you can hide. So each of these widgets has a function in the program, in the system. So for example, the Programs tab is where you would go to identify programs that you want to work in. So if you clicked on the Programs tab and went to UES Measures, and say, for example, you wanted this to be a bookmarked program, as we mentioned earlier from the initial screen, you can go into the program and then click here next to the cogwheel. You can click Bookmark Program. Would you like to add this program to your bookmarks? It will confirm, and you can say yes. Now, once you've done that, and it marks it as completed, let's go back to that screen, and you'll notice along the bottom that breadcrumbs show up here. Don't really use the back button in BEETS. You use these breadcrumbs down below. So if we went back to the initial Utility and Program Management tab, we would see that in Bookmark Programs, I added BPA Central Lincoln UES Measures as a bookmarked program. I could, from this window, remove it. Would I like to remove it? Yes. And then you will notice, if we go back to that initial breadcrumb, that it has been removed. So that's how you can bookmark programs. You can also bookmark utilities if you work with them. So that's another option for those who work with multiple utilities. And you can bookmark invoices, which we're not going to get into today, but you could bookmark invoices if you wanted to keep track of a certain list of invoices as they were processed. So that is the Utility and Program Management area setup. That concludes our training on getting started with BEETS. Thank you for watching.